Good morning, Jim.
Hi.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for starting your week out with us. Today, folks, we have with us the owner of PatchOps. It's a veteran-owned company that specializes in creating custom morale patches. We'll get into more details about that. It is Timothy Hickey, the owner. He will be here with us. Plus, we're going to go into a lot of the election fraud that took place in 2020. As, of course, we get closer to November and the election, more proof is coming out that it indeed was.
Now
it comes out.
Perfect,
right,
timing.
Perfect timing, isn't it? Yeah. So like every conspiracy we have, just wait a little bit and it all comes true.
Yep.
So that plus so much more, Jim, on another episode of What?
Live from the Patriots Prayer Network studios.
What enthusiasm.
It's two guys.
It is.
One coup.
Wake the hell up, America.
Look for our album to come out in a couple months.
I am officially awake now. Every time I hear it, officially awake. Let's get to Grit Gear and Lock and Load Coffee here real quick before we bring Timothy up.
We'll have you here in a minute, Tim. It just takes a little while.
Yep. Hang on there, brother. He's there waiting. Let's hear from Grit Gear and Lock and Load Coffee. Be right back.
Grit is defined as firmness of character, unyielding courage in the face of hardship or danger. At Grit Gear Apparel, we honor all military, police, fire, public service, and patriotic Americans, both men and women regardless of color, creed, or religion. Our brand represents the love and freedom for our country, the heroism of all our men and women, and the principles of what this wonderful country was built on. Our goal is to regenerate the sense of patriotism and to spark the American pride within us, to stand together in the toughest times and become victorious, to preserve all our freedoms, to honor our flag, and to respect the men and women who have fought and died for us to have these freedoms. Wear our brand with pride, with a sense of patriotism, and as a statement for the love of our country. Whether you're military, public official, or civilian, our brand is for you. Together we stand as Americans.
Together we stand as Americans. Buckeye, good morning to you. Thank you. That is gritgearapparel.com and, of course, Lock and Load Coffee.com.
Look what I got.
Oh, you got your
my
silver
one. Shipment of coffee, and they gave me a silver one. Yeah.
Only I had one, I thought.
No.
Yeah, folks, go please support them. Veteran supported, family owned and operated. True America first.
Great coffee.
And just great people in general.
I did burn my tongue on the coffee this morning, so
you did.
Rich, it's a little hot, but
it's not hot in that cup. It stays hot for hours. Go there, folks. Really, gritgearapparel.com, lockandloadcoffee.com. Use coupon code 2GUYS, get 10% off of your first order and free shipping on everything over $125. Really supporting a great company, great people who are selfless. They're just absolutely selfless. So please go, folks, and do that. Let's real quick here. Yeah, there's shirt gears. Got it all. We got it all. Go get yours now. really. Quick, PatchOps. Timothy Hickey is here. He's the owner of PatchOps. Like I said, a veteran-owned company that specializes in creating custom morale patches, apparel, and gear for military personnel, law enforcement, first responders, and patriotic communities. Known for their high-quality craftsmanship, PatchOps offers a wide range of durable, detailed, and often humorous designs, and they are often humorous designs that reflect the pride, humor, and camaraderie of those who serve. Let's waste no time, Jim. Do what you do best. Let's bring our guest on, Timothy Hickey. Yeah, he's getting there.
You getting there?
Yo. Yeah, Tim,
Nice.
good to see you, man. Good to see you.
Got
Thank
one of
you
your
for coming
patches
on.
right here.
Yep,
Nice.
yep. I got mine hanging on the wall back there. They're phenomenal. We met Tim at the Warrior Weekend for the Warrior Shield Foundation as they were honoring the Sub-Zero mission, which Tim is also involved with. So we'll get into that. But first, let's hear a little bit of, again, thank you for coming on. Good seeing you again.
Yes.
Jim and I hate his beard. Just hate it because we can't grow those. We are not men. We are not men. You're a Marine, not former Marine, because once a Marine, always Marine, but Marine, and now owner of the company PatchOps. Tell us a little bit about your background and how that led to creating this company.
Well, so PatchOps launched in 2018. So back then, we saw the writing on the wall with the public school system.
Yep.
And we wanted to take our kids out of the public school system, but we couldn't afford a private school at the time. So we had a goal of a side hustle that made $50 a day. And that's what we needed to put both of our kids into a private school. One of my friends he was an Army grunt, and they are very into patches. At the time, there was nothing for Marines because Marines didn't have Velcro on their uniform back in 2018. But I wanted an 0331 patch, my MOS, heavy machine gunner. So another one of my friends owned a patch company, but I had to have 100 of these 0331 patches made. And I don't have 100 friends, let alone 100 0331s. But I sent them to my whole platoon, and the other half of my platoon was 0352s, which was tow gunners, and they wanted some. So it kind of just launched from there, where my one friend taught me the business. And we kind of hit the ground running with a focus on stuff for Marines. We were very fortunate at the time, like not long after we launched, Marines got Velcro on their uniforms and on their gear. So it was just a timing thing. But, we linked up with some. Chris Peranto was the first person that we linked up with, and he's been an awesome supporter and friend and brother to us since we started. And then Dana Lash at the time was the spokeswoman for the NRA. She is probably the strongest 2A advocate that is out there. And the best move she ever did was parting ways with the NRA. I'm not a huge fan of that organization overall, but the 2A is very important. So patches kind of just allowed us to speak our own values to everybody. I like to talk shit, and patches definitely give us that outlet. But we blew up in our first year. What was our goal of $50 a day? We were doing that by the end of the first week. And we kind of we've grown like every year since then, and it's been a good time, and it allows us, like I said, to be a reflection of who we are, and we don't have to worry about our bosses. It's always funny when someone calls all mad, like, I want to speak to your boss. I'm like, I got bad news for you. But
this conversation's not going to get any better.
We've operated a lot differently than a lot of businesses do, where we don't hold back.
You do not.
Definitely, if you leave a comment on our page, like, expect a response from me.
And you might get a patch made.
You might get a patch made.
But Tim, tell us, because what we're amazed by is how quick you can come up with these. I mean, you had these patches fairly quickly, and then you
fight.
the next morning we released that after the first assassination attempt. But it's kind of cool for us because we control a lot of different aspects of our business, which sets us apart from other people in the same space. But we have a whole team of artists. I read constantly, so I catch stuff like right when it happens. Really, we started doing shirts and stickers back when the Let's Go Brandon thing started, because I watched that live and they were saying, Let's Go Brandon, and I was laughing my ass off of it. So we just did, stickers and shirts that day, and it blew up. But we've kind of become known for that and moving very quickly on stuff, and we definitely pissed some people off along the way, but it's part of doing business, and I don't mind that stuff. We've had everything has happened to us. Like Shopify at one point took our store offline, like with a flip of the switch, because we supported Kyle Rittenhouse. As a former police officer, like I watched every video on that, and I knew that he was well within his rights to shoot those people at the time. We launched a fundraiser, and we were at the time the #2 performing store for 3 years in a row of stores that launched the same time. Shopify flipped the switch and turned it off.
Holy smokes.
So the next day, like, that was a little shocking, being new into the e-commerce world at the time. But we rebuilt and released a fuck Shopify patch. we definitely we don't hold back, and I don't think that you see so many people bending the knee now, and so many businesses, and we're just never going to be that. So when something happens to us, like we've had the DNS attacks on our website, we face cancel culture, and every time we come out with 2 middle fingers.
So you haven't had your first DEI hire yet?
we do not have those.
But
it's and the last 6 years, going back to 2018 when we started, and all the stuff that was happening to Trump in the media, like it was so obvious, and it's like, but it's given us a nonstop flow of content for us to put out, and it really makes you realize the way that we've grown, that we're not alone. Like the media tries to make us seem like we're the minority, but there is that silent majority that's become a lot louder over these last 6 years. And just that Trump patch you held up, it's like people are sick of it. People are sick of the left, and we are definitely whatever the opposite of liberal.
Whatever you want to call that.
They've gone right past liberalism, even. They're way beyond.
Classic liberals. Like, I believed in smoking weed growing up. Like, if you put me 20 years ago, my values haven't changed.
Exactly.
Apparently Kamala Harris's haven't either. But,
apparently.
But mine seriously.
I mean, she says they have. So I'm sure they have.
But it's
by
like,
the way, that's code. That's code to let her base know I haven't changed. I'm just telling everybody that
I have changed. Exactly.
And it's
bullshit.
The media nowadays, the media is constantly lying to you. The government lies to you, and you kind of got to try to find information on yourself. But at no point in our history did they make an announcement and like, hey, the media is going to start lying to you now.
Correct.
So you have those classic Democrats who still vote Democrat, but are completely brainwashed by the media. And it's like, what the fuck is going on? Like,
I don't know. We try to figure it out daily.
Every day I wake up, I'm like, can this world get more retarded today?
I know.
Twitter, and I'm like, holy shit, it can.
I guess it can. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy town out there. I mean, I don't get it either, man. We've tried to figure it out for so long now. There's so much evidence of them lying. And it's like, and I understand, if you're going to just sit there and focus on MSNBC, that's your belief. That's what you're going to hear. You're only going to hear what they tell you. But you think at this point, grown adults, voters, people responsible for what happens in this nation, and our leaders would wake the hell up and just be like, wait, let me look at both. Let me see. I don't believe everything the right's telling me, I go research it. And I'm okay. Well, they were right.
And this might surprise some people. Like, I hate both sides of the government. I'm not like, I hate both sides. But at some point, you're right. It's like you have to wake up. But they're so emotion based, that they are on to the next outrage of the day without any thought. Like that whole Russian collusion stuff, it's like, holy shit, they completely lied to you, but you're on to the next thing and believing it just like you did then. And it really comes down to Trump derangement syndrome. Like that's a real thing. And when that was all going on, I told my wife, I was like, you have to understand, there's a certain percentage of these people that aren't coming back. They're just not. They're too far filled with hate and Trump derangement. Like none of it makes any sense. If Trump was the Masked Singer, like I've never actually watched that show, but I get the concept. But if you only looked at policies and Trump policies, like I can't understand why anybody would question it. But it's, you know, Orange Man bad, which we have a patch of.
You know, they were bringing up.
You have Orange Man
bad? We have Orange Man good.
Do you good?
In the interview, in an interview with Hillary Clinton over the weekend, she brought it up again. She brought up the Russia collusion, and it's nobody calls her on it. And it's like, you know what?
She's the one who was involved. She was the brainchild basically behind it all.
And it was comical, that interview over the weekend. She's like, people should be prosecuted for this disinformation, and she is the fucking.
Isn't that something?
The leader of it.
Wouldn't you? Wouldn't you love to have a judge out there, just a smart ass judge? Like if one of us were judges, I would have issued a bench warrant for her arrest because of what she said. You know,
it would be great. You know, I've been wearing the Hillary for Prison shirt back since you know Benghazi stuff happened in 2012, and she's absolutely a criminal. But the left projection is the tool of the left. It's like they do it constantly and accuse your enemies of what you're doing yourself to create confusion. That whole Saul Alinsky stuff.
They're good at doing it, to be honest with you.
They're excellent. And one thing we can never do too is underestimate them, because the left thinks the right's retarded. Like they think we're stupid hillbillies in a cult and all this stuff that Obama used to call or say that we're Bible thumpers clinging to our guns. But it's like, we cannot underestimate them. As much as I dislike Barack Obama, he's a very intelligent person, and that makes him even more dangerous. But we can never underestimate them, and especially as we come into election season. We all know they're going to cheat again. We all know
we do.
But what else is coming? Because you know they use COVID against us for mail-in ballots to allow for that cheating. Something still is coming. You know, we're in September now, so I don't know what this October surprise is going to be. But
I don't either. You know, there always is one.
I have a story I'm going to do later that in Pennsylvania, the early voting, the Republicans are actually turning out more than what the Republicans are right now.
Which is a true fact, which then leads to, you know, when's the third assassination attempt or what, you know what I mean? It's like, this is going to be a continuous cycle as long as the name Trump
we already know
it,
there's millions of ballots already filled out.
Oh, we know they're ready and waiting.
Okay, we know that.
Ready and waiting.
Since I met you guys, and I know you dabble and enjoy a good conspiracy theory, my current one is, once they have seen the growing support after the assassination attempts, I would not be surprised if something happens to Kamala Harris on the left, or an attempt to garnish that emotion from the left. But it's like, I still have a very hard time believing that that's their final candidate. Like, holy shit.
Me too.
It's like, especially after we saw Hillary Clinton on the news networks this last weekend, like, I will not be surprised if they pull something and her name is on the ballot.
That'd be insane. That'd be insane, especially since, and here's the thing, you know, you got RFK Jr. out there suing Wisconsin and states to get his name back off the ballot. And they're like, nope, too late. It cost us $80,000 to reprint ballot. $80,000 for a city. I mean, they're pissing away that every minute, you know, on feeding the illegals at a minimum, right? So them putting somebody else on the ballot, I guess is what I'm getting to, replacing Kamala. Yeah, I wouldn't put it past them. Look how she got installed to begin with. I mean, we all knew Biden was incompetent and couldn't handle the presidency. We knew that before he was elected. I say that.
You know, they installed Kamala when 3 months prior they were talking about replacing her on Biden's ticket.
Exactly. But it's like, the lowest rated vice president in history.
Tilt in their eyes. Yeah, and tilt in their eyes. They just now they're like, oh, Kamala's the queen. Like, get the fuck
exactly.
out of here. Like,
You
3
can
months
go
ago,
back
you
to-
guys knew she wasn't likable, so you wanted to replace her completely.
And
you can
she's
go back
the
to
opposite of
CNN.
Obama. Go on.
Yeah.
Go on.
Well, you can go back to CNN, ABC, all these, and just 2 years ago, you can play clips where all these people that are touting her as this next coming, and where they said, well, maybe we need to, maybe not we, but they said maybe, well, it is we, but they said maybe Biden needs to replace her for 2024 because she's weak.
Yep.
Now they want to make it look like, oh, she's fantastic.
Oh, she's
I
the
mean, she
second
went on
coming of
Oprah
Obama.
Winfrey and she looked great, didn't she?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys ever watched Seinfeld. Like, I grew up watching Seinfeld, but they had Bizarro World where it was like, and
what it is.
I don't know if it was the Halderan Collider or whatever that opened another dimension. Where
I don't know either. I don't either.
You know, that's a good point. I never thought of that, but you might be right.
You might be right. I mean, there's a parallel universe happening. And we're in the weird part of it all. You know,
it's coming to us live. It's like, you sit and watch it, and you're like, holy shit, like what? But that's every day now, and it's one of the most puzzling things. Like, it's fascinating to me if it wasn't real. You know, if this was just a fiction book that I was reading, it would be a very fascinating time in human history. But to be part of it live and walk around, and it's like, hey man, one thing that's concerned me recently is I see more Kamala Harris signs than I saw Hillary Clinton signs back in the 2016 election. But those are the ones, like, it's so easy to know. Like, they are every single narrative. Like, there'll be a rainbow flag, the BLM. It's everything. And it's like I said before, it's like their eyes have flashed tilt. And I say this a lot too. This is the zombie apocalypse that all those TV shows have depicted towards us, except it's brain dead, brainwashed liberals that want to come and eat your brains too. Like,
correct. You know,
it's
correct. And what's weird about it is leadership in that that particular part of the party. They're coming after them first. You know, that's who. I mean, that's who they've already brainwashed them. So they're coming after everything. Their freedoms, and they don't even know it. You know, they don't even their rights. They have no idea. They're just like, this is the right path. You know, that orange man bad. I mean, that's it.
I'm old enough to remember when the left or the Democrats were the anti-war, anti-big business, anti-pharmaceuticals, and now it's like
what? Yeah, I know.
Look at the billionaires. Look at the billionaires now. The billionaires are leaning towards Harris, right? Harris and Walz, and the working man, the union workers and all that are pulling towards Trump.
Harris has the support of the IRS union. Should that not tell you everything you need to know? I mean, first of all, I didn't even know they had a union.
Kamala did receive endorsements.
Why do they have a union?
Kamala did receive endorsements from Russia, China, and Iran.
Iran.
There you go. North Korea hasn't decided yet, but I kind of think where they're leaning. Okay.
There's no way North Korea is playing Sweden in this whole thing. I mean, they're not going to be.
Tim, real quick, we want to talk to us about how you got into Sub-Zero Mission. And kind of give us a little bit. We've talked about Sub-Zero Mission. We're going to have Sarge on here in a couple weeks, but just tell us how you got involved and a little bit about what they do and who they are.
Okay, I'm going to try to make this pretty brief because it's a bit longer of a story. But back in 2018, literally 2 weeks after I launched PatchOps, a car pulled out in front of my motorcycle, just around the corner from where I'm at right now. But as I turned the corner and was going down the road, something told me that was about to happen. So I was paying attention. I saw the car. I slowed down. I revved my engine. It pulled out, saw me at the last second, stopped in the middle of my lane. So I slammed on my brakes and I was skidding and I clipped the front fender of it, which put me into oncoming traffic. And then there's a big ass truck coming. So I skid 50 feet on my foot. I didn't get hurt that day. Somehow I didn't have my helmet on. If something hadn't hadn't have told me that that was about to happen, I would have been going full speed and I would have hit that car dead center. Something told me. Anyway, so my foot was messed up and I'm backwards. And so I spent the next 3 months in my bed and I was watching the news every day. And it seemed like every day somebody was killed in a motorcycle accident in a very similar car pulled out in front of them situation. And I was all hopped up on all these VA meds. And then one day I woke up and I was like, you know, I'm not taking any of this shit anymore. And I can go off about the VA system and how they over medicate veterans. But I woke up and one day I was like, you know what, I'm not going to take this shit anymore. And something, I was like, something told me that that accident was going to happen, and it fucked with me for a while. But then I woke up clear-headed and said, I have to do more. There's a reason I'm still here. Then I was hobbling through Party in the Park. Sub-Zero Mission had a display there. Me and my wife years before had tried to help the homeless and go feed them on our own. But I hadn't even heard of Sub-Zero Mission at the time. I met Al, Sarge Raditz at there, and he's like, why don't you come in and talk to me and get involved? Because I needed to do something more with my time here to be worthy of surviving that motorcycle accident. So I went into his office and I met him, and he offered me the veteran coordinator role. He said that, you know, for many years, they had been serving the homeless, and they go out and they would find a veteran, but all they would be able to do is give them a card of phone numbers and then walk away and leave them on the street. And he wanted to change that. So I took that role as the veteran coordinator with a goal to help get homeless veterans off the street. And it wasn't like a week later, I was in his office and a homeless veteran walked in off the street and was looking for help. And so I took that card and I started calling those phone numbers to see how we could help them. There was no roadmap for us at the time. And this was at the end of 2018. But since then, 2018, and I got very involved, and I volunteer a lot of my time to Sub-Zero. And I told Al at the time, I was like, you know, this mission is going to help me maybe more than I can help the homeless veteran, because it gave me a sense of purpose again. It gave me my brothers and sisters around me on a mission to change the world. And, you know, I'm a former police officer too, and I used to think that I alone could save the world. That leads to a very harsh reality when you have to accept that at times you're not really making a difference in that career. But, you know, in a new clear mindset, I figured I might not be able to save the whole world, but I can make a difference for one person at a time. And if there's anybody more deserving on this planet, it's somebody who raised their right hand for this country. And working to get homeless veterans off the street since then has, you know, it's got its ups and downs, and we never really take the time to pat ourselves on the back. Since 2018, I think we're somewhere around 29 homeless veterans that we were able to connect to different services to get them off the street. But we never really think about it like that. You know, when you get one, you're on to the next one. There's always another one out there. And as you guys learned, and I'm sure I don't want to steal the thunder from Al when he's on in a couple weeks, but this year we're launching something called the Homeless Veteran Re-Empowerment Program, where we're taking things to a new level where we're not walking away from them at all that night when we find them. We're going to take them with us. And we've partnered with a sober living house that'll have a bed for them. We've partnered with all types of different services and networks to provide them with the help that they need, help counseling. You know, I talk about the 22 a day a lot when I've ever given any speeches. Homeless veterans are no different. They've just given up in a different way. So when you find somebody on the street, they've given up. And you have to try to relate to them as a brother and not as a civilian or a service coming through. And we tell them that, you know, like, we're gonna help you. We don't want anything from you. We want you back on your feet again. And every one of those people has potential, or you know, they wouldn't be able to claim that veteran status. And there is a lot, you know, as anti-government and anti-VA as I am, I will give a lot of credit post 2016, the VA has made a lot of changes.
Uh-huh.
There's a lot of people out there, a lot of different services that want to help, but it's like they're all scattered and none of them talk to each other. So Sub-Zero Mission, through our networking, and we've kind of been the glue that has brought all these different services together. One thing in the government and the VA system is you could have all the answers in the world on the left, but if you're only paid to answer the phone and look to the right, you're not even considering all that stuff. So Sub-Zero itself isn't the ones getting, we're providing the glue to get all those services together and connect everybody. And we've had some success, but we want to do more. And this homeless veteran re-empowerment program that we're going to be launching, it's all encompassing, and we plan to end veteran homelessness in our area. And we've built the program so that it can be replicated. There's still a lot of unknowns. I'm eager to launch it. I was just telling Sarge that the other day. It's like, I'm ready. But we don't know what we don't know and what we're going to face. And every case of homelessness in the veteran community is very unique. You know, people have different challenges. You know, there's a big misconception about the homeless community where everybody thinks they're just all on drugs, and it's just not the case. It's probably about 33% drugs and alcohol. Hey, honestly, if I was sleeping outside in the middle of winter, I'd be down in a apartment myself.
I'd want to be as numb as possible, man.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, absolutely.
33% are clear mental illness. I'm not talking PTSD. I'm talking, you should be institutionalized type of mental illness. But there's still 33% where they just need a hand up, and we say that all the time. It's not a handout, it's a hand up, and we're reaching down into a hole, and we'll climb in that hole with you and navigate this system that can be challenging. And to go back to when that first homeless veteran walked in and I was the one calling all the places, like, it's very overwhelming and it's very confusing, and not everybody, it's not a clear path for them. So when you don't have anything going for you, you've lost all your belongings and you're sleeping out on the street and you don't have a support network to try to navigate that system on your own, like it's almost impossible. Something that is a molehill for us, like if one of you guys lost your ID, like you go down to the county and the DMV and you would go get it. But when you don't have an address and you don't have you're more focused on what you're going to eat that day to survive. Like that becomes an insurmountable mountain for them. And so we're kind of digging away and lowering the mountains, I guess, to make everybody have a molehill. And I'm pretty excited to see where this program goes. And
for sure.
Well, Rich
go ahead. Sorry.
Well, Rich and Sharon made a comment there, or Sharon, or both. I'm not sure, but it's time we as Americans wake up. Our government just turns ahead to our vets, and especially this administration.
Especially this administration.
And hey, I want to give a shout out to Rich and Sharon from Grit Gear. They're just such awesome people.
They are.
And that, you know, I always look at the people behind the brand before the brand. Because especially in today's society, when you mentioned DEI and all this stuff, when these big businesses are just making millions, it seems like, you know, they don't care about us. They don't care if, and you see this cancel culture, although it was very effective on Bud Light. I mean, it's few and far
depends on how it's used. You know,
hey, if you guys listening are gonna go out and spend money on a patriotic brand, Grit Gear is where it's at.
I agree.
They're just excellent people behind the brand, and that is so important. And you know, in talking to them, they compete with the Black Rifles, the Grunt Styles, and the people that have forgotten about the veteran on the street, and
we've learned a lot about.
Things we've learned a lot about those companies since, and like I said, we don't, and they'll never badmouth them one way or another. That's not who, you know, Rich and Sharon are. They are just selfless. They are just focused on positivity and helping their community, veteran community, and helping their family, of course, but just so selfless, you know, much like you, and much like Sub-Zero, and much like the Warrior Shield Foundation, like the people at that a Warrior Weekend Festival that we met, it was just unbelievable. Each and every one of them just selfless, you know, giving back, and none of this is free. This is all donation based. It's all, you know, people that are supporting it. Like how would people support Sub-Zero? What is it they would need to do? You can go donate, you can become sponsors of events, things like that. So how do they get a hold of them in order to do it? There it is. I brought it up. Yep.
Our website is subzeromission.org. And we accept donations of winter hats, boots, coats, gloves, and sleeping bags.
Correct.
We call it the Stay Alive 5. We live in an incredibly supportive community that has kept us afloat for, I think it started in 2008. So this is year 16.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, and you know, I want to give I don't know that Al will tell the story, so I just want to real quick say that Al and Dell were Marines. They were friends from high school. After they got out, they were sitting in the VFW here in Leroy, Ohio, and somebody came in the middle of winter and said there was a homeless veteran under the bridge in Painesville. And those two Marines got up right then and went and got their cold weather gear and took it to him. And that's how Sub-Zero Mission started. It was just two dudes, two veterans heard of another veteran under a bridge and said, hey, who's going to do something about it? We are.
That's right.
And they got up and they did something about it. And touching back on Rich and Sharon, and the bigger point here is you have to do it in your community. One thing January 6th showed everybody is you don't really have a voice on the national.
You don't. Correct.
Community. So, but what you can do is make a difference in your own community and grow that shit outwards. So, and when you're making a difference in your community and you're involved in everything, that starts to grow. And you know, the good grows stronger every day. I don't want anybody to think that evil is just winning. Like, good is growing stronger.
It's very important.
Like, it's very easy to sit here and be like, man, evil is getting stronger and stronger, but so is the good. And it's like, I hadn't met you guys before.
Correct. Vice versa.
Our network just got stronger and the good just grew a little bit more. So I try to keep that positive outlook on things because we live in a very negative world, and especially when you watch the media and things going on around the world. The whole world's on fire right now, but when I walk out in my community, I don't see that stuff. I see good people of every race that are, for the most part, kind to each other and want to do something. They want to be involved. But you know, I don't want to discount anything with Sub-Zero and the way that we take donations, because we obviously need monetary donations to keep doing things that we're doing. But I just read an article in about the homeless issue in California, and they've spent billions and billions of dollars, but it's more than just throwing a dollar at a problem. And that's what the government thinks the solution to everything.
That's the solution to
it. But at some point, you also have to lace up your boots and be the ones. If you sat here and waited for the government to solve your problems, it's just never going to happen.
It's happening in communities all over the world. People waiting for the government to solve their problems.
And it's never. And look at the world. Right.
Look at the world.
So it's not going to happen. So, so my biggest thing that I always try to relay is just get involved in your own community. Like, I'm one of those that I go to school board meetings. During COVID, I was speaking at the health department, and you know, in those types of things, like, you get a lot of arrows thrown at you. But I can take those arrows because I know I'm speaking from the heart, and I want our community to be better and our world to be better. And I 100%. Think a lot of people have become so reliant on the government to do something that they forget that, you know, I have Isaiah 6.8 on my arm. It's like, who will go for us? And it's like, send me. Like, I'll go. Like, I'm the one. And that's everybody. I'm not special. Al and Dell, they're special people, but they're not special. You know, like, anybody can do that.
Correct.
But it's having the will and the want to make a difference. And everybody in Sub-Zero Mission are difference makers.
Oh, for sure.
And we're just not going to sit on the sidelines and sit there and point out a problem without offering any type of solution. So,
well, it's an unbelievable organization, and unbelievable.
And I can tell you,
honestly,
Dale and I were humbled because meeting you and your wife and everybody from Sub-Zero, we're better people for knowing you.
Yeah, we are. No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
We love it. And by the way, if you're going to go to their bowling their bowling charity event that they're doing, you might see some signage from us there.
So, where's that at? Where's that happening at? Where do you know where it's happening? The Sub-Zero?
I would assume it's in Mentor, but I don't have the details of that specific.
Yeah, I can look it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, like we try to do a lot of different creative approaches to fundraising, and we're always looking for sponsors. But when you sponsor Sub-Zero, know that the money is going to the mission. Like,
correct.
We're not in a situation where, you know, it's just the board being paid. The board itself is composed of volunteers. We do have some part-time employees and minimal pay, but that's to keep everything functioning. So
you
it's
have
like
to.
and it's
you have to.
But everybody on the Blue Coat team, the people who leave their families at night during the winter, and we go out at night, like we're not going out during the day. We're not going to the shelters. We're going into the woods and under bridges at night and finding these camps and giving them the stuff that they need so that they don't freeze to death. But it's the path forward that's going to be new this year, and that path forward for homeless veterans. It's you guys are going to be really proud to have sponsored any part of this.
We already are. Yeah, we already are. I mean, despite whether that was happening or not, we already are proud of it.
We have a new job for you too.
Honestly. Huh?
Okay, we have a new job for you. Ready?
Tim
from Grit Gear. Tim for president. So there you go.
Hey, you know, it's kind of funny because I do speak out about a lot of things. People ask me to run for office all the time, and it's like, man, I hate people for the most part.
I know.
I could never I just watched Brandon Herrera. He ran for, he's big in our 2A community. So big in the influencer world in the 2A, and he just ran for office in Texas. And I watched the ad hominem attacks on that dude.
Oh, and
I could never handle that. Like at the end of the day, I'm a Marine. I want to fight. But I see this stuff, and people bring kids into it, like your family. I just could never do it because
I would go apeshit. Like it would be
there was a time. I mean, there was a time you left the spouses, left the spouses and kids alone. There was a time that they were off the table, but now doesn't care.
You can't leave Joe's spouse alone. She's the one running the country. So.
as we just saw, that was weird.
Yeah, we just saw.
Yeah, that was weird. Bizarre. The doctor at the head
doctor.
Of the but
doctor.
It's but you know, I definitely give a lot of credit to the people who do run for their local political offices. Like that's not an easy job from school board to anywhere locally. You know, the federal government, I have a lot of questions when people want to seek those offices. But you know, in your local community, that's where you make a difference. And
correct. And if I ran myself, man, I'd have to just present a laundry list of what skeletons are already in the closet just to get them out in the open. Like, okay, yep, that I did that. This is me. That's okay. Now we're moving on. You know, but
definitely. You know, I'm far from a perfect person.
Yeah, we all are.
Overcome a lot of different obstacles in my past, but it's like, you know, I had a sergeant major tell me this dude had a stack of ribbons that said "Seymour on back." This dude was a badass. He had done literally everything. And he said to me once, he said, "Hickey, what do you think all these ribbons and $2 gets me at Starbucks?" He said, "A cup of coffee." That's it. And that's the $2. You're only as good as what you can do today. None of the shit you've done in the past, you can never rely on that to go forward. So all that stuff, it's those small things that he probably just said to me in passing have stuck with me, and those types of values. It's like, it doesn't matter what I did before. It matters what I'm doing now.
Exactly.
Those things are all pretty important. Man, we can definitely sidetrack you guys onto a lot.
Dude, man, we're completely. That's absolutely fine. We are going to wrap it up though, so I want to make sure that people. How do they PatchOps? How do they get a hold of? There it is, PatchOps.com. It's not just patch, but you got like you sell like hats and gear and all that, like shirts and all that. Do you? I mean,
we do custom stuff. Custom is really where it's at for us, but we have over 20 500 of our own designs of patches, stickers. Everything that we do can be a shirt. We're set up for small order, like one-offs on shirts and stuff like that. I think we have a maximum, not a minimum. So we don't do more. We don't do more than 30 shirts of anything, but we don't have those maximums on patches and stickers and stuff. But we print all that stuff on demand so we can turn it out pretty quickly. I do want to show you guys one of our patches though, because our patches are a little bit different too.
Oh, cool.
Because we put Velcro and adhesive. So one of our taglines is "Stick that shit anywhere." You can put our you can put our patch on your car. You can put it
Taprack Pew Training LLC. It's awesome.
and shout out to Taprack Pew Amy on Instagram. She's one of our best friends. But that's her patch. But we custom designed. We took her idea and we drew it up and we brought it to life. And that's something a service that we always offer. We have a whole team of very talented artists. I'm like I say, I'm art-tarded myself. Like most of our ideas come at 3 a.m. I'll wake up and be like, that's funny, and I'll send it to my art team with a stick figure.
So, that's right. How's that look?
That's my artwork right there.
How's that look? Took me all night to do that.
Our team is very, very talented. So anytime you're looking for custom artwork, custom stickers, custom patches, or small orders of custom shirts or challenge coins, anything swag related, we got you. So
saying 2 guys, 1, 2 patches. I mean,
well, just I'm sure it's you definitely won't need a maximum for those.
Hey, you guys would be surprised though. People people who listen to you hand them something, they'll sport it, and it's all about getting your name out there further. And
we might have to talk to you about some possibilities.
And see what that entails.
It definitely cool. it works, and we do them for some of the biggest gun companies down to the smallest things, and it's all about people putting your name on their stuff. And we say this all the time with the Sub-Zero mission stuff, like take our shirts and wear them. It was so cool at Warrior Weekend seeing all those heroes wearing.
Sure was, man, wasn't it?
But somewhere somebody's going to be like, hey, what's the Sub-Zero
what's
mission?
that about? What's that? That's right.
And it helps us get our name out there and our message out there and the stuff that we're trying to do. So it's all very important.
I was wearing a cool t-shirt from Grit Gear yesterday out, and somebody at the store, Walmart of all places, they said, "Man, I love your shirt. Where'd you?" Well, here you go. Here's where you go get it. I mean, it just quite a bit. Strikes conversations up, and it gets people interested.
The Grit Gear stuff, their shirts make me look jacked. Like
I know, man, aren't they? I mean,
I have to get mine a little. I have to get mine a little bigger because I don't want to be. I'm not jacked.
Even made that tiny little Ryan Weaver look jacked.
Oh yeah, Ryan's got them guns though.
He got them guns, brother. Yeah, he does. Timothy, man, or Tim. I mean, you go by Tim. I mean, I know it's Timothy, but it doesn't.
Is Timothy.
Yeah, I know. It's like James. He doesn't go by. He loves James when you call him James. We appreciate you coming on. All that you do, man. It's an honor for us to know you.
Yes,
we're
awesome.
Extremely happy we met you and the group from PatchOps and the guys from Sub-Zero and you and your wife, of course. I mean, just wonderful, wonderful people. Again, selfless, doing what you got to do. It really is an honor for us. So come back. We'd love to have you back on because there's, even just to talk politics in general, and all that.
And we got to put this out there because you don't know about this, but
still waiting for Rich at Grit Gear to make Speedos for 2 guys, 1 crew Speedos, man.
Ryan Weaver, in order for Dale and I to be in his next video, we got to wear Speedos. And so we're working on it, but Rich just doesn't want to do it. I don't know why.
Hey, I think a Speedo with a nice patch up front would be.
Perfect. PatchOps right there. Awesome.
PatchOps. I mean,
we definitely
want it there.
Although that's a questionable approach by Ryan. I cannot say enough good things about Mr. Ryan Weaver.
Oh, he's an amazing dude,
an awesome person, and the stuff that he has done and does so selflessly for the veteran community. You cannot find a better, more talented artist out there.
I agree, man. That dude is just spot on. He's passionate. He's he's been through hell and back. Him and his family. And it's like,
you go to his concert. He does not
just doesn't stop. His energy level, man, just wind him up and go. I mean, he's unbelievable and just an awfully nice human, in general, man.
Hey,
So,
you guys stay tuned. We might get him up here in Northeast Ohio for a
nice
event. So
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, that's definitely on our radar. And Ryan is he's just amazing. So and
3 hours for me to get there. So.
Yeah, keep us informed, man. For sure.
Definitely. We're going to do it in the middle of winter so that Dale has to come back to Northeast Ohio from Florida.
Love it. I love it.
I'm coming up in October. That's the latest I've been up, and I can't tell you how many years. That's about the extent for me. So, but to see Ryan, and I'd do anything, you know that. So
excellent.
Tim, you're the best, man. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming on again. And we'll talk soon, man. Stay in touch. You know,
thank you guys.
Let's get together again.
Awesome.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
All right, Jimmy, man, I'm telling you, folks. Again, he's incredible. You literally. So when we met him, we met him in person and met him there at the weekend in Orlando, the Warrior weekend. That's who he is, man. He's that dude, always, all the time, constantly.
His wife, they're just
his attitude is just spot on.
Yeah,
his wife's a doll.
Just great.
Yeah,
they're great.
They're just good people. It's unbelievable. I mean, how blessed are we to know these people? I mean, fortunate, blessed, lucky. We still got a lot to go over, Jim. We got a good show.
Before we get into stories, I'll go ahead and do this. Let's play Grit Gear. And
let's do that. Yep.
Grit is defined as firmness of character, unyielding courage in the face of hardship or danger. At Grit Gear Apparel, we honor all military, police, fire, public service, and patriotic Americans, both men and women regardless of color, creed, or religion. Our brand represents the love and freedom for our country, the heroism of all our men and women, and the principles of what this wonderful country was built on. Our goal is to regenerate the sense of patriotism and to spark the American pride within us, to stand together in the toughest times and become victorious, to preserve all our freedoms, to honor our flag, and to respect the men and women who have fought and died for us to have these freedoms. Wear our brand with pride, with a sense of patriotism, and as a statement for the love of our country. Whether you're military, public official, or civilian, our brand is for you. Together we stand as Americans.
Folks, that's gritgearapparel.com, lockandloadcoffee.com. Please go there and support them. Use coupon code 2guys, get 10% off your first order. You heard the spiel, but it's true and it applies. And even if you're reordering, please use the code 2guys so they know you heard it here. And then free shipping, everything over $125. Lockandloadcoffee.com, gritgearapparel.com. Thank you, Buckeye, again. I think we missed her last week one, man. Silver man. Yeah.
I got my silver man, so that's cool.
Yeah, he did. He got a silver man. Now I'm not alone in that. I'm sure. I mean, I'm not alone in the world, but I mean, between you and I had an advantage over you. So now I have to.
In your world, you are alone.
I am alone.
We live in Dale's world.
we do. Thank you. Please go support Grit Gear Apparel and Lock and Load Coffee, please. They so deserve it. Selfless folks. Again, that's what we bring you here at Two Guys One Coup, some of the greatest patriots and greatest Americans across this country. You've met a lot of them, and there's more to come.
Kamala Harris on this show. Well, you will see her on the show. Just
yeah, we've asked her to come on. She, So speaking of Kamala Harris and all that, there was I don't know where I want to start here. There's so much. We want to get to this election fraud stuff that just keeps coming out.
Got a couple. Each of us have a story, and I think it's important to go over because we're heading into something pretty important coming up, aren't we?
Yeah, I think so. We certainly are. What's that, Jim?
There's voting going on right now.
There's voting going on right now. Yes, early voting going on, and that's going on. Boy, did my screen get bright. Let's get rid of that. Ooh, it looks like sun here. I want to get into then, Jim, real quick on my first. I'm going to present something here on the screen. Honestly, it has to do back again with the debate, and Senator Langford out of the great state of Oklahoma went in front of the Senate and gave a spiel about that and about ABC lying and about that, all that stuff. So I want to play real quick here his couple-minute speech. We could stop it, bring it on, talk over it, whatever you want, Jim, but I'm going to put it up here so everyone can see it. It's pretty interesting. It's what we already knew. It's some of the stuff we've presented, but let's hear what he had to say.
Trump, during that debate, talked about children that are aborted way in the 8th and 9th month, and then some even after, and mention that. To which the ABC News moderator, Lindsay Davis, responded, "There is no state in the country where it's legal to kill a baby after it's born," and then immediately turned to Vice President Harris.
Yep.
Where literally she jumped in to be able to debate the president and to try to quote unquote correct him. The problem is there was no one to be able to moderate her in that debate and make the simple statement, there are not only states in America where that can happen, there are states in America where that does happen. In this simple map of the United States, this lists out the states where there are strong protections for a child after birth. Now, this is not an abortion. This is a botched abortion that has occurred.
Yep. Very important.
A woman went in with the intent of having an abortion, late term. The child was fully delivered. And in medical practice, in many of these states that are listed here, the child is fully delivered during the abortion. And if the child cries, breathes, the practice is to back away and to allow the child to slowly die on the table.
Yep.
Because the intent was an abortion.
Crazy.
And so everyone just steps back in the facility.
How can you do
and
that?
Watches the child die on the table.
Yep. Morally, how can you do that, Jim? That is absolutely unbelievable to me. We knew, I mean, obviously we knew this was happening in the States,
Yep.
but the point is that the majority of the people that watch that debate, excluding those who know the truth, never had the opportunity to hear that kind of stuff because of the moderators. And we know now the affidavit they're suing, because ABC, a whistleblower is suing, ABC because of it and all that. We'll see where that goes, if anywhere, but
and that was
it's just unbelievable.
That's a perfect example of the media.
Yeah, that's right.
Is just ruining America, and they don't
ruining
care.
it.
They
Ruining
don't. They don't care.
They don't care.
They only care about what they want to put out.
Correct. Yeah, they do not care whatsoever. So that was, I just wanted to play. There's a part 2, but it doesn't get any more detailed than that. It truly is.
Walk away.
What's that?
Walk away from the
away
baby.
from the table.
It's
It's breathing. It's alive. It's murder, and everyone should.
That is what it is.
It's murder, and they should be held. They should be brought to trial. They should be charged with such. It's a murder.
How could any human being, human being, walk away from a crying baby?
More there's the morals. There's nothing. They're brain dead. There's nothing anymore. They had a financial responsibility to conduct that abortion, and damn it, they're going to get that abortion done regardless. That's absolutely insane. Moving on from that a little bit, I do want to play real quick that the whole Project 2025. I wasn't going to get into it, but I'm so sick and tired of this bullshit with this Project 2025, and so sick and tired of the lies, and they're still talking about it, and they're still tying Trump to it. Well, former CIA chief of staff testified in front of Congress about this such thing. Let's listen to what she had to say.
Opening statement that I'll get into in just a second, but Ranking Member Raskin, you reiterated and have created a boogeyman that just isn't there. I did author the EPA chapter on Project 2025, but in the course of that, I did not work with President Trump, with any of the people who work for him directly or his campaign. And it is very misleading to suggest that there's any coordination there, because I can personally tell you it did not happen. And I am not vying for a position in the next administration. I've actually left D.C. and I've moved to a small town in Mississippi where I interact every day with people who live outside this bubble of gaslighting and misleading. And they actually are dealing with the consequences caused by policy decisions of this administration that isn't defined by progress, but defined by creating unnecessary hardship. I understand why it's hard to think about the political realm prior to President Trump.
It's so, folks, I mean, this is literally, she helped create that draft. He is there testifying. Now, I'm sure MSNBC and all that played that.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sure they know that. But that's exactly what we're talking about here. And so enough. Again, whatever, they've tried to kill him twice. So honestly, nothing is surprising. So what they say doesn't matter. What they do doesn't matter. But it's
Hillary Clinton brought it up again over the weekend.
Over the weekend. Yep. She brought it up. And Russia collusion.
Yep.
Did she not bring that up? This is a very nice comment. I just want to play from Buckeye.
Yes.
We
awesome.
love her to death. Greg Garrett, truly why I love supporting the guests and causes they bring attention to are amazing. We wouldn't do it if it weren't for all of you listening. So, we couldn't bring it to you. We still would. We could not bring it to you if it wasn't for your support. So we thank all of you. It allows us to do it. So you guys are the best, but I just wanted to play that. Jim, moving on. I have a couple more real quick that I want to play. I think I'm going to get into the whole election fraud thing, if you don't mind, at this point. Very interesting things going on. One of them to me was the Secretary of State of Georgia, we know Raffensperger, who certified the election in 2020.
Yep.
What was odd, and what I don't have the video of, but I'm going to play this next one. But what I don't have was he was on a morning news show the day after the election, and Trump was up 2.5% at that point in Georgia. And they were interviewing him, and he said, well, we only got 2% left to count. He was up 2.5 points, but they have 2% of the vote left to count. And we don't think anything's going to change at this point. It looks like Trump is going to be, and then it got cut off. Like his mic disappeared, his feed disappeared. And then of course, you know what happened. Biden took Georgia. Sure they did. Well, here's a little bit of what just happened at a hearing about the Georgia election in general. Listen to this crap.
That this happened in where they were concerned about certifying but felt compelled or forced to.
Yes, I was told by many counties that they questioned the Secretary of State, and they were told to certify.
Can you tell this committee how many counties that might be?
I talked personally 8 counties, and out of that 6 said they were forced to certify.
Can you explain what you mean by forced to certify?
One county was 106 votes off, and the Secretary of State's office told them they must certify that number. Another county, which was a small county, was 2.3% off. They were told they had to recertify. Another county was off. They questioned it. The Secretary of State said, upload your stuff, let us look at it. They called them back and said, oh, we found a missing batch. And then they magically matched. That's what I was told. I have copies of the emails later on, whatever you need. And those people were willing to do an affidavit.
Can you tell us what steps the Secretary of State took when they came down to Coffee County?
When they came to Coffee County, they came down on a Friday. They told them that Thursday, I believe, it may have been late Wednesday that they were coming. 3 people from the Secretary of State showed up with guns and badges and handcuffs, and 2 Dominion Tech reps.
Pausing it. 2 Dominion Tech reps. So 2 Dominion machine reps, and they came with handcuffs and weapons to Coffee County, Georgia. Little Coffee County, Georgia. To what? For what reason?
Right.
They came with the intent of intimidation. Luckily, the county attorney stayed with the supervisor so that she wasn't by herself. And basically, he said, you want to recount? We'll do a recount. There were no Democrats, no Republicans there to watch this recount. And the attorney called to an area private school, got a group of sophomores. They sat there and divided the ballots into 100-count batches. And they proceeded to scan them, and they wouldn't scan. The Dominion Tech ran into the problems that Coffee County ran into. The Dominion Tech sat on the floor for 2 hours with a manual trying to figure out why they couldn't get the machines to do what they needed to do.
And Captain, was the Secretary of State responsive or helpful during this process?
No, sir. In fact, I even...
We literally have been going through this living hell, each of one of us suffering. 13 soldiers died in Afghanistan. Countless others are suffering across this country because they literally installed an illegal election, election.
Okay, over the weekend, I saw
that alone should never, sorry, Jim, that alone should never, ever allow a Democrat to take office again. These things alone should never, ever allow, they should be banned from taking office at this point. Go on. I'm sorry.
Well, no, that's okay. It's over the weekend. Okay. Her name is escaping me right now, but she's usually, she's one of the Democrats on the 5 that comes out.
Yeah.
And,
I know.
the one thing that she brought up, misinformation.
Oh, I know. Again, here we go.
So
again, I'm so sick of that term.
She referenced Sidney Powell and some others back then. Folks, I want to just reiterate Sidney Powell and some of these others. Okay. They were pushed into a corner where they couldn't afford to defend themselves anymore.
Correct.
So they did a plea agreement. And part of that plea agreement was to admit that they made this stuff up when they didn't. But they were told to they did it for a reason. So it's not misinformation. It was not. You have great, courageous people like Greg Stenstrom and Leah Hoops, who
Mike Lindell, who never gave in.
They offered them the same thing.
Correct.
And
that so is exactly who it is, Buckeye. Jessica Tarlow. Yep. That's who it was. She's.
Yeah. And it's terrible because that's what they're bringing up. They're bringing all that stuff up. Don't let that fool you. Again, maybe Buckeye can help, or maybe you can help. But the person on Trump's administration that went to prison, who was at the RNC, who gave a speech. I can't.
Oh, you're talking about, you're thank you for putting me on the spot.
Yeah, well, I can't remember it either. But
older gentleman, yes.
The example was he was approached almost daily.
Yeah.
Here's what you need to say. You can get out now. And he goes,
and he didn't.
President Trump never lied. President Trump never did those things.
He never did. He went to jail.
Saying those things.
Again,
so when you sit there and hear disinformation and you do that stuff, just stop.
Stop.
Yeah.
Just stop. Now I've got one more, and then Jim, we'll get on to you.
Well, I do an election right after you.
I am too.
Arizona.
This is Nevada. So this is
Pay
again, Senator Langford. Yeah, again, Senator Langford. This is about the Nevada elections. Here we go.
1,000 people in Nevada voted more than once, according to your work in this. 42,000 people. 1,500 people voted in Nevada that were dead. 19,000 people voted though they did not live in Nevada and they weren't a college student. 8,000 people voted from a non-existent address. 15,000 people voted though they were registered to a commercial address or a vacant address, and 4,000 people voted in Nevada that are non-citizens. My question to you is, in my state, when someone votes twice, and we do have that occasionally, and about 50 times a year that actually occurs in our state, we prosecute individuals that vote twice. Of this 130,000 instances that you have identified from the 2020 election in Nevada, do you know of any prosecutions currently going on in Nevada for any voter fraud?
Not yet, Senator, and that's extremely important. These laws have to be enforced. We, of course, I represent the Trump campaign and the campaign's electors. I don't represent the government. We can't bring prosecutions. But if we are going to enforce voter integrity laws, they must be enforced, and we are confident that although it often takes a long time to put together a fraud case, although it takes prosecutors months, sometimes even years, to go through subpoenas and warrants and using the FBI to go investigate these things, once a good hard look at these cases is examined, an honest look, if we do that, there should be charges brought, because the ranking member brought up in his remarks that when you lose the principle of one person, one vote, the end result is authoritarianism. Yep. That's exactly what we're saying here today.
Yep, that's it. That's exactly is what they're saying. It is that. You heard those numbers: 42,000, 15,000. What did Trump lose Nevada by?
Yeah, well,
11,000, 12,000. I can't remember exactly, but it was like
in comparison to what Arizona found out.
Well, that's true. That's true. So you're right. You're right. So yeah, you're not wrong. But Jim, I take it away. I had a couple more, but I can save them in the spirit of time. I'm good. I don't need to play.
We can show these. We can just show them and then
Yeah.
briefly say them so we don't take too long. But
Yeah.
This is Arizona, folks. Watch.
Again.
Information and pieces floating around earlier today and last night. The key takeaways from the hearing today, looking at my notes, there were more than 255,000 early votes shown in the county's final vote that did not have a corresponding early voting entry, meaning they didn't have that record, but yet there was 255,000 ballots. That is a lot of ballots. There were also over 23,000 who voted by mail after moving after the cutoff, so they no longer lived in the state or in the county. There were 23,000 voters who had cast double votes. There were 9,000 more mail-in ballots were received and recorded than the official number of mail-in ballots. There's a large discrepancy, more than 255,000 in discrepancy, and you talked about the 50,000 that was leaked in the report last night saying that there could potentially be these fraudulent ballots. We also know that the machines were connected to the internet, contrary to what the county was saying before the audit, saying that they weren't connected to the internet. They weren't connected to the internet. We've learned conclusively that they were, and not only were they connected to the internet, but there was also remote access available to the EMS system, the election management system that was used. So there's a lot of discrepancies. There's a lot of explaining to do. And I want to point out the fact that the audit did not say that Joe Biden won. That is a leftist spin that's putting on it. They are the part that confirmed the hand recount is the same thing as counting potentially fraudulent ballots. It's the same thing we saw in Georgia right after the election. We saw a lot of people concerned saying, why are they doing a recount of the same fraudulent ballots to get the same fraudulent results? Well, it was part of the investigation, and they did that. So that's the explanation of where that count comes from. And they say the counts do match; they are close. However, there is a lot of indications of fraud, and so that's the discrepancy. That's the spin on the misinformation. So we need to see what comes of it. But there was a lot of information that came out today.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
so for all you people out there, kiss my ass.
Yeah.
January 6th, all they wanted to do was hold the certification of the election. All right. That's what happened. But that's why they wanted to hold it up, because of all of this crap.
Yep.
You cheated.
You cheated.
You blatantly cheated. And we have people out there who didn't care. They don't care. They don't give a crap. And they're going to cheat again, because I've got new numbers here that I'm going to go over here in a bit. So this infuriates the ever-living shit out of me, especially when you watch people like Hillary Clinton and you watch people like Chuck Schumer go out there and say what a danger President Trump is to democracy.
Yep.
All right. Voter integrity in the United States of America should be first and foremost. That should be it.
Yep.
Doesn't matter who you are.
Yep.
Okay. I don't want President Trump to win because we cheated.
Yep.
I want President Trump to win because majority of the Americans realize, that's the America we want, not this one. So
free and fair elections. Simple concept. And it's going to happen again. Georgia just voted to hand count all their ballots. Okay, everyone's like, "Oh, that's a nice win for us." Great, if you're hand counting true ballots.
Right.
But I mean, what's the difference if they're fraudulent ballots? So that's where it's got to stop. But Jim, that's amazing. We know it. So here's we've had proof in Pennsylvania, we've had proof in Arizona, we've had proof in Georgia, and now proof in Nevada. I mean, geez, how do you win? What states? You know, is this year going to be New Mexico? You know, Idaho,
North Carolina,
Virginia, Texas. I mean, is that what's going to happen this year? So be vigilant,
and
people.
They've got their sights set on Texas, folks. And
they
thank
do.
God Abbott and the Secretary.
They're thinking Florida's they're looking at Florida
proactive.
as a potential swing state. Well, I don't either, but either should Texas. You know,
if Texas
there shouldn't have been a swing state in 2020.
Right. Yeah.
But go on, Jim. Go on. I'll let you go on.
Texas or Florida should fall. Just wanting to let you know, and that
Yeah.
But I do want to show something real quick, because the rest of the world doesn't think a whole lot of. Well, I shouldn't say the rest, but there are some people in the world who don't think so much about Kamala that maybe some of the idiots here in this country do.
Oh, you think?
So can I play this?
The whole world.
On to the US now, and Kamala Harris has sat down with Oprah Winfrey for a friendly interview today. It's as opposed to every other interview she's done. Here's some of what she had to say.
Mm-hmm.
And I look around at these screens, Oprah, I look at who's in the room, and this is America. This is America. You know, I was saying with a group of friends earlier.
She talks to us like
I
children.
think in this moment where we've dealt with so much that I think is quite exhausting around powerful forces that would try and divide us and try us to have us as Americans pointing fingers at each other. Yes. That
Oprah, yes.
This movement that is about reminding each other that we have so much more in common than what separates us.
Tina, do you have any idea what she's on about? I mean, at least she wasn't talking about the middle class. And
she doesn't look like she's on some drug, but Oprah had no idea either. But the good news is, ignore all that polling. I've got some pretty good contacts in Washington, and I'll tell you now, Trump will win. Where he needs to be in front, he's in front, and he'll keep his nose in front.
Okay, well, Tanya, you feeling as confident because a new national poll today has them pretty much tied on 47%. Do you share?
I share Tanya's confidence, and I think, look, you know, there's nothing worse than having a Californian interviewing another Californian, okay? I mean, that's not where the election's going to be decided. True. It's going to be decided in Wisconsin and Michigan and Pennsylvania, you know, those states where people are doing it tough, okay? And they don't care what celebrities think.
Yeah, boy, I'll tell you,
they're better than our network.
Of course they are.
Right? And
Sky News always is on top of it.
But
I'm telling you.
I want to go over some things, folks. And here's why I want you to be very careful about paying attention to the polls, okay? Mm-hmm. Now, I know somebody's going to come back and say, well, look what you're doing. But the one consistent thing that all of them have, President Trump has more black voters coming to him. Right now, Kamala Harris has 50 and over.
Yep, correct.
From black people. 60%.
Mm-hmm.
Obama had 96%.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Okay. Even Hillary Clinton had.
What did Biden have?
Biden had over 80%. They were all over 80 to 90%.
Yeah.
Hispanics now, that number is decreasing. They still favor Kamala, but Trump is gaining ground. Union workers. I honestly believe President Trump is going to win the union workers.
I do too. I do too. Except the IRS union. We already talked about that.
Well, exactly. Yeah. But so if you look at all those numbers, she's losing ground on.
Yeah.
Independence. She's losing ground on independence. How is she winning by 5% in some of these polls?
Yeah, she's not. And we know it.
She's not.
But that's the we see. We told you the polls were correct.
They're scaring you away from voting.
That, and when they do cheat. If they can cheat enough to win, and they'll do whatever it takes, as we've seen from Democrats, then it'll be, I told you, we told you the polls were, we told you she was. People don't want Trump. People don't want America First policies. So, yeah,
and Walz
that's
agrees
what they're
with
getting
us,
ready to tell you. Huh?
Governor Walz agrees with us.
Oh, does he?
You ready?
Yeah, I love this one, by the way.
We can't afford 4 more years of this. Look, Kamala Harris made it clear. These guys want to instill fear. They want to tell you that just get over it. It's a fact of life. This is the way it is. She simply has said it doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be this way. We can't afford 4 more years of this.
I saw the one where it's like, I'm Donald Trump and I approve this message. That's the one I saw.
Somebody remind him that she is the 4 years.
She is the 4 years.
This is how, guys, this is a communist.
Yeah.
He is a communist who loves China, who has been to China a number of times. They flipped off this Jewish people because Shapiro would have been a much more dangerous choice for us as conservatives.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But they went with the one who they knew was as bad as what she is, because they have no fear. Because uninformed voters are going to believe every single thing he said. And I have one more thing I want to show, because conservatives are weird, right?
Conservatives are weird. Yeah, I've seen
Ready?
this. Yeah.
Now I need everybody to pay attention to this, because this is good.
Conservatives are weird. JD Vance and Trump, they're weird.
Are weird.
Mm-hmm.
Weird about conservatives. There is almost a cultish vibe, I feel. The way
They're a Kiss
they
concert.
operate within themselves, they refuse to listen to outside people, they're refusing to learn, essentially. I think that is a large part of it.
What did I just witness? What am I seeing?
Anybody didn't.
Is that the cat? Is that cat dude? Who is that dude?
We are weird.
We are weird.
Now, for those of you who are new to our show, who didn't watch us before we came to this, we played a lot of that stuff.
We played a lot of those. We need to get back to that. What does it matter? I mean,
I'm telling you, that is not the majority of America. Now, they're entitled to look like that. If that's what they want to do,
they're even entitled to say we're weird, but you can't.
I have no problem with them doing it. I think you're weird. I think you're very strange. I think it's ridiculous. But I'm just telling you, man.
They're allowed to say it. I don't care, but you can't look like that and then we're weird.
And how many jobs is that person going to get?
I mean, probably a barista at Starbucks. I 100% guarantee it. That's the career path.
I am very
nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying that's probably the one companies, one of the few companies, or maybe a face on a Bud Light can. We don't know.
If you think I'm weird, because I'm not like that, thank you.
Thank you. I'm so proud to be weird. I'm so proud to be weird and different. Jim, you got anything else, or do we want to play?
I want to add something real quick. A new study has just come out. Just the Fact study estimates that between 10% to 27% of non-citizen adults are illegally registered to vote.
What?
This U.S. Census counted over 19 million non-citizen adults in 2022, meaning between 2 and 5 million could be illegally registered voters.
I believe that.
This is, let's just say, up to 2.7 million.
Jeez.
Now spread that out amongst Georgia, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan,
Arizona. Yeah. Or spread it out between those four. Yeah, that's it. That's all it takes. Yep.
That's all it takes.
That's all it takes.
Now, everyone can sit there and say, we're election deniers and all that stuff, because that's what, again, over the weekend, that's what people were showing.
Yep.
Right. There was a new campaign ad for Kamala Harris that comes out, and they showed all the presidents that lost. They showed George H. Bush. I went and congratulated Bill Clinton on winning the election. McCain, I called up Obama, congratulate him, all this. And then they showed January 6th.
Yeah.
To scare you to think this is what's going to happen if we don't. Guys, stop with all this. I don't know how. We have got to try to get the word out. We have got to try to get the word out that this is crazy. Yes, I do agree. I do agree that Trump is going to win. But
I do too.
Really have to make it to where
it's uncheatable. Is that
they are
right?
going to cheat.
They are going to.
Illegals. And in Wisconsin, there are going to be a bunch of dead people voting.
It's too big to rig, right? That's the whole saying. That's what you have to make it. Jim, I've got one last thing I want to tell you, because I am full blown American pride, but there might be a reason to move to Russia. There might just be a reason to move to Russia. The Kremlin's top doctor this past week encouraged all Russians to engage in sex at work. Yes, it's a scheme and a move to back President Vladimir Putin's attempts to counter a growing population crisis. So apparently they're having a population crisis over there, as we are here, because of abortions and vaccines and allegedly and stuff.
And people changing their sex and all that.
And changing their sex and not procreating. That is correct. But they're encouraging it in Russia. Now, Jim, you often have sex at work, but you work by yourself.
I was going to say, I work home alone. So
I don't know what that means, but you're often, so I don't know if that's exactly what they mean. I don't think so. But often happens there. Jim, you're the best, buddy. I want to, guys, we got to hear again one more time from Great.
Can I say one more thing though?
Yeah, go ahead, Jim.
Okay. In Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Okay. Democrats are down in terms of mail-in ballot requests.
Well, they are
by 250,000, which is the Republican swing. Now, again, these are numbers that look good for us. What are actually being counted?
Correct.
So please understand that. I can't stress, Dale and I cannot stress this enough. It's not who's registered.
Yep.
It's not necessarily who voted.
Correct.
Who's counting the votes and who is controlling those little zip drives that have all those recording on there.
That's right.
That's all I'm saying.
Yep. Now, listen, I don't need to play the commercial. We can just support these people. You go to gritgearapparel.com and lockandloadcoffee.com. Please, folks, go there, support them. You heard from Tim earlier at PatchOps. Please go support him. He spoke very highly of Rich, like we have. So, I mean, it's all true. It's all true and all that. Please go support them. Support Tim and PatchOps and the Sub-Zero Mission and Warrior Shield Foundation. You know, they're all out there. We haven't talked about Warrior Shield today, but please go support Warrior Shield at warriorshield.org. They need your support. They're the ones who were able to actually donate and put the fundraiser on and have Sub-Zero as their honorary recipient this year and members, and they supplied them a lot. They did well on an auction to give them the money they need to help at least one veteran, right? I mean, it takes so much more. But Buckeye, thank you again. Yes, we did miss you on Wednesday, and we're glad you are back with us here today. It doesn't seem like a show when
you're allowed to be gone.
Does it?
You're allowed,
but I mean, you got to clear it with us first. Our producer's not going to be here. Subzeromission.org. Again, yes, thank you so much for posting those, and warriorshield.org as well. Don't forget them. Jim, thank you again for everything. Folks, be safe out there. We will be back Wednesday. Jim, do we have anybody? Do we have an interview Wednesday?
It hasn't been confirmed yet.
Hasn't been confirmed yet. So you might see it, or you might just hear us babbling for an hour or so, which is absolutely fine, because who wouldn't want to?
It's all good.
Please, folks, go to the PatriotsPrayer.com as well. That's where you can find us. Go look them up on the Patriots Prayer on Rumble. Please like, follow, and share on there as well. And then you can hear everybody else who has shows on there. We're getting more and more and more, and there's a lot of folks on there. So please go support all of them if you can. It's where you're going to hear the truth, and you're going to hear absolutely, and you're going to see guests like we bring you, true Americans, true patriots, true heroes in this country. So please go do that. Jim,
God bless.
My friend. God bless you. God bless America. We'll talk on Wednesday. See you, brother.
Bye.
Bye.
Lost in the crowd, truth hides deep, buried in the noise. Left hand deals lies, can't stifle the choice.